Hey, this is Ken All. Welcome to the Daily Reflection Podcast. I had no control of stopping. I stopped when I passed out. Alcohol never jumped out and got me. I always went in and got it. I still can't dance, and I'm still not rich, but I'm all right with myself. To the newcomer, please give it an open-minded chance for just a while and try to do some of the things that you see the winners doing.
Welcome to the Daily Reflection Podcast with your hosts Michael L. and Lee M. On this show, we try to bring inspiration through interviews with members of the recovery community. We are not aligned with any 12-step or recovery programs, but you will hear them mentioned throughout the course of an interview. On today's show, Ken R. from Beulaville, North Carolina. Before we get to the show, I'd like to ask a favor. If you're listening on a podcast network like Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any network that gives you the ability to leave a comment or provide a rating, we'd love to get your feedback. But more importantly, it's going to help us reach folks that might be out there in need of recovery. We hope you enjoy this episode. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fantastic this morning. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well as well. What's going on for today?
So today is March 27th, and we have with us Ken R. from Beulaville, North Carolina, and he's here to share with us on today's daily reflection entitled AA's Freedom.
Well, Ken, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on the podcast.
Hey, thanks a lot.
So we get started in the same way every day, Ken. We ask the guest if they would get us started by reading the daily reflection for today. Can you get us started?
Yes, sir. Today's daily reflection is AA's Freedoms from March 27th. We trust that we already know what our several freedoms truly are, that no future generation of AAs will ever feel compelled to limit them. Our AA freedoms create the soil in which genuine love can grow. From the Language of the Heart, page 303. I crave freedom. First, freedom to drink. Later, freedom from drink. The AA program of recovery rests on a foundation of free choice. There are no mandates, laws, or commandments. AA's spiritual program, as outlined in the 12 steps, and by which I am offered even greater freedoms, is only suggested. I can take it or leave it. Sponsorship is offered, not forced, and I can come and go as I will. It is these and other freedoms that allow me to recapture the dignity that was crushed by the burden of drink, and which is so dearly needed to support an enduring sobriety. Thanks for letting me read.
Thanks for reading, Ken. That's beautiful. I love that freedom, beautiful thing that we get in recovery. So as you read this, what comes to mind for you?
When I began drinking, I thought that it did free me. It freed me from fears and freed me from angers and freed me from myself. I could get out of myself and just be me. So I thought, as I drank for several decades, came a time when I decided that I would quit drinking. I needed to quit drinking. And what I realized when I tried to quit drinking, that I didn't have that freedom. The freedoms had all been removed. The only thing I could do was drink and drink and drink and drink and drink. I just couldn't find any freedom. You know, when I woke up, I was held captive. When I went to bed, I was captive. And whenever I found AA, I wasn't really sure if it was going to work for me, but I heard a gentleman speak the first meeting I went to on my own. He told me about a freedom he had found through Alcoholics Anonymous and how it freed him from the bondage of drinking, the bondage of alcohol. I thought about it, and I didn't think about it long until I decided, well, maybe I need to try this. That's where AA landed me. I gained those freedoms back each day. I gained more freedom and more freedom each day.
You know, I love that. It's a beautiful thing. You know, I vividly remember the same thing. It was kind of like this treadmill that I was on and just couldn't get off. And so how long ago did you get sober? What's your sobriety date, Ken?
December the 20th, 2013.
So what was going on in your life back in 2013 that brought you into seek a recovery program?
I was born up in eastern North Carolina, down near the coast, and I'd had a good life. I came from a good family. My dad drank a lot. I don't know that he was alcoholic, but he drank a lot. But he was a good dad. My mom, she was they never got divorced and stuff. And I'd gotten married and had two beautiful daughters and had a good job. Back in the 80s, I was in the Navy for 4 years. And I will say one thing, I joined the Navy because I was scared I was going to end up in jail. I had a lot of things going on that drinking had helped me get into. I kind of couldn't drink myself out of them, so I joined the Navy. I really, really started drinking in the Navy. I could get 45 days sober then because I'd be out at sea. But as soon as they turned me loose with a pocket full of money, I was drunk. And then when I got out of the Navy, I came back and I got a good job. And it wasn't long, I was right back where I was. That was in the early 90s. But to push forward, I had a family and stuff, and everything was good. I kept my bills paid. I was fortunate. I never got but one DUI, and that was when I was 16. I just got on around the 1st of December in 2013. It kind of was coming to me that kind of like you were talking about being on a treadmill. I felt like I was on a roller coaster, and there was a 90-degree turn coming, and I was going wide open. And I hit that turn on the 19th of December, and I didn't get drunk that day. It wasn't the day I drank the most. I didn't end up in jail or a wreck or nothing. Just that night, I got to the point where I wanted to end my life. And I took about 100 ibuprofen at one time, and my former wife saw me take them, and I ended up in a mental ward, and I stayed there for about 10 days. I didn't really hear anything from them of what I needed to do. On Christmas Day, 4 gentlemen came in and shared a short brief about their experience through the Alcoholics Anonymous, and it hit me. And I had a friend from the Navy. He was in AA, and he was still in AA some 30 years later. And I thought about him, and I said, well, maybe this will work for me. I went to a meeting when I finally got out of the mental ward. I stayed there a little longer than I planned to, but as I realized each day that I was crazy too. I mean, I thought everybody was crazy when I got there, but I was just crazy as they were. And I started going to AA, and each day I started feeling a little better, and a little better, and a little better. That's what made me stay. And that's why I still go to AA and try to help other men. And, I try to pass on the word when people call and ask me, I'm in a bind. What can I do? I just tell them what I did. And some of them it works for, some it doesn't. That's kind of where I'm at today. So almost a little over 7 years later.
Well, that's a moving story, Ken. And it never ceases to amaze me how, a few alcoholics sharing their experience, strength, and hope with another alcoholic can actually affect a change in them maybe years later. We don't know what kind of seed it plants, but in your case, obviously that was powerful. And I'm thinking, because I know you're into Joe and Charlie, and you go to a Joe and Charlie meeting, it made me think as you were sharing about this page in the big book and more about alcoholism on the top of page 34, where it says, as we look back, we feel that we had gone on drinking many years beyond the point where we could have quit on our own willpower. And then it says, if anyone questions whether he has entered this dangerous area, let him try leaving liquor alone for a year. If he's a real alcoholic and very far advanced, there is scant chance of success. And I guess my question to you is, do you think that you lost the power of choice over whether or not you could quit years before you quit? Or what are your thoughts on willpower and trying to quit on your own?
I had no willpower at all. I had none from the time I started drinking at an early age, 12 or 13. a little bit. And I'm fairly sure that by the time I was 21, I had no control over drinking, not any. And when I drank, and I still look back, I thought the craziest thing in the world was when they put a twist top on a beer can, on a beer bottle. I couldn't figure out who needed a twist top on a beer bottle. Once I started drinking a lot, which was, I'd say, 14 or 15 years old, I had no control of stopping. I stopped when I passed out. That's just how it is. And I drank to get to, there'd be a brief period in there when I was drinking. From the time I drank the first beer, there'd be a brief period in there where everything was going well. And my dad used to kind of joke with me. I'd come home and I'd be real drunk. He'd like, damn, son, you overshot the runway again. And that's what always happened. I always overshot the runway. But there just wasn't many days when I planned, I'm not going to drink any today. I just planned on drinking. I knew I had a problem. I mean, you just don't drink like I drank and not have a problem. But when I did finally decide to quit drinking, it was very distinctive that I couldn't quit drinking. I mean, I could not quit drinking. I couldn't quit drinking for a day, so I didn't try much. And until, circumstances arise, I didn't really feel like, well, maybe I don't need to quit drinking. And those circumstances, my theory is, when you want to whenever I decided I wanted to take my own life, I knew right then that the gig was up, because I didn't really want to die, but I thought I wanted to die. And today I look back and I didn't have a lot of trouble realizing that there was a God, because I grew up with God, realizing that he was with me all along, because that day he stepped in and he let me live, and he sent me to that mental facility, and the 4 men came in and told what they had done, their experience, strength, and hope. And I listened. For one time, I had an open mind, and I listened. And the day I got out of there was one of the scariest days I'd ever lived, because I had to make one or two choices. I had to go to AA and get help, or I had to go across the street from that hospital and get me an 18-pack of beer and go back to drinking, just like I was doing the day that I went in there. And I chose AA. Up to the day, hadn't drank yet.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you made it through. But so tell me what they told you. What did those 4 men tell you about AA?
They told me that, they told me kind of my story. And one good thing is, one of them I knew, and he'd been missing from my life for 2 or 3 years. And I was like, I didn't really know where he'd gone. Why hadn't they gotten in AA? They all said pretty much the same thing. They got to where they had no more hope. They were powerless over alcohol, that their lives, their business lives, their family lives, their personal lives inside their own mind, their gut feelings, were just like mine had gotten, that they had no more control over their life at all. To start with, I thought I had a cocaine problem. Well, I wouldn't say I didn't, but whenever I weighed it out, my cocaine addiction stemmed directly from alcohol. Because when I quit drinking, that craving went away immediately. It was just like I cut the light out. But I hadn't had these big, huge, terrible cravings of biting my fingernails to keep from turning into where I used to go buy beer and stuff. I don't, whenever I go by a restaurant, I don't feel like it's going to jump out and get me, because it didn't ever jump out. Alcohol never jumped out and got me. I always went in and got it. I just, I feel more comfortable with myself. I still can't dance and I'm still not rich, but I'm all right with myself. I can get up and I can go to work. I can come home to my wife, and I don't have to make up lies. I don't have to pretend I'm something I'm not. You know, she's not ill that I come home drunk because I'm not. She's not ill that I come home drinking because I don't. My children, I don't have to lie to my children. I don't have to lie to my mom. I don't have to lie to anyone. But the biggest thing is I don't have to lie to me. That was the one that everybody else I didn't have any problem lying to. But lying to myself every second of every day, it took all the life out of me. I'm a pretty happy guy anyway. I always have been. But before I was happy because I was living a lie. But I wasn't happy inside. Today I'm happy inside. That's just where I want to be. And, you know, I tell people I'm a lot older than a lot of guys I know in AA. I'm 55, but I still go surfing. You know, I still listen to reggae music and stuff. I do whatever I want to, but it's what I want to do. It's not what I thought I wanted to do. It's what my body and my soul tell me to do. And that's a good feeling, you know, because when you start drinking as early on as I did, I've been to everything, but I always swore that I would never quit surfing. And by the time I was 27, alcohol and drugs had taken surfing away from me. And whenever I got sober, I was like, man, I was overweight and this and that. And I got right back into surfing. And I mean, it's way better now than it ever was. My whole life is way better today than it ever has been since I was 13.
Wow, I love that. I love what it's like now. I love your description of what it's like now in your life, specifically by the way, I'm older than you, but still the fact that at this old age, we can still enjoy things like surfing and reggae music. And I feel sometimes like those of us in recovery actually get a chance to start over. You know, it's almost like 55 is the new 35 now. So what was it like getting to this place? You know, talk to us a little bit about the solution that you found in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous.
I knew a little bit about AA just for my dear friend, Louis L. I met him in the Navy. The first day I got to my ship, which was in 1987. I saw this guy going up there and he had his surfboard with him. And I went and talked to him. Louis and I, we became good friends just for the fact we both surfed. He was a Spanish guy from LA. I was a hillbilly from North Carolina. But we became best friends. We were like brothers. And I realized after we got back that he didn't drink. And I'm like, I don't really need this guy. I realized that how good a friend he was. And he put up with my drinking all the way through the Navy and everything. But I called him and I talked to him and I knew how good his life had become. And I knew I wanted that life. You know, I didn't want his wife or his car or nothing like that, but I wanted to be happy like Louis is, like Louis still is today. And I got into AA, and the guy that I worked for, I've worked with him for 27 years now, but he told me, he said, you need to go get help. He said, if you need to go to a 90-day recovery program, or we got planes, helicopters, money, whatever you need to do. I said, well, I think I'm going to go, because I heard him talking about you need to go to 90 and 90. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I think I'm going to go to AA for 90 days straight. Go to as many meetings every day as I can go to. Well, he had a stepbrother and a stepsister who both did the same thing. And one's sober, I think, now 28 years, and one's like 31 years. And he was all for it. And that's what I did. And he'd call me each week and ask me how things were going. And I'd tell him they were going swell. Every day got better. Every day got better. Every day got better. And then at about a year, my children's mother, she let me know that I didn't need to come back home, and she ordered a divorce. And there for a minute, I was like, man, this is going to just kill me. But it didn't. I realized that it was God's will. God's will got me through that I didn't have to drink. And God's will helped me to find a lady that I did truly love and that truly loved me. And we live a great life. My job's still going good. You know, I mean, my life is just good and it's normal. It's, as I said, you know, I did a good solid 4-step and 5th-step with my sponsor, and you know, and I've done some since. And whenever something gets on me, I go ahead and I tell my daughters, you know, don't go to bed with something on your mind. If you got a beef with someone else, you need to get it over before you go to bed and tell the truth. You know, whether it doesn't matter if they like the truth or not, it'll still be better than when you get caught in a lie. It's just today that the capability for me to be honest today is one of the biggest parts of my recovery. I mean, you know, you always have little things. Well, I don't have to worry about getting caught drunk driving and stuff like that. And all that little stuff is a perk. But, you know, not having to lie, because I thought one of the best liars in the world. But I couldn't never lie good enough to fool myself long. When the lying and stuff goes away, the guilt and the shame and the remorse and all that goes away with it. You know, I've been through throat cancer. I didn't have to drink. I lost my dad. I didn't have to drink. Before I quit drinking, I lost my granddaddy, who was my best friend, and my little brother. And I drank for 10 or so years, and I couldn't drink them back. I could drink them back in the nightmares, but I couldn't drink them back. And today, I'm at peace with it. You know, I had them for when I did, and we're all good. And, you know, that's where I wanted to be. You know, I wanted to be where when I went to sleep at night, I had good thoughts about what happened to them. And I do. You know, I miss them. I miss a lot. I've got a lot of friends I've lost, dear friends, over the years. But I miss them, but I'm all right with it. I don't have to try to drink them back. And, you know, I thought I was trying to drink somebody back. Really, the people that were left here, I was drinking them away. And I don't do that anymore. But today I'm fine with being me.
I love what you said about, you know, not having to lie and having honesty in your life and just being okay. That's so powerful. You know, these are the things that we get when we learn about recovery, when we put the drink down and get some distance between our last drink and the day. And I'm thinking about, you know, that what you said about living authentically. And what would you tell a newcomer that's thinking they got a problem with alcohol, maybe drugs as well, and they're not sure? I mean, maybe this thing's going to work for them too. What might you tell a newcomer?
You know, I was able to go into AA. I made up my mind on December the 28th of 2013 when I walked into my first AA meeting. I said, I'm going to give this thing a chance. I don't care if I go in there, everybody's standing on their head, I'm going to stand on my head. You know, that's what I try to tell people. Just give it a chance, man. If, you know, you don't like it, think about why you don't like it. And, you know, just look and see how the people around you that have been sober, how they act. Not everybody got a brand new car and a brand new house, but when I see people laughing, people laugh when they feel good. And I used to laugh a lot, you know, when I was drunk, and I didn't really feel good. And today, you know, this morning, just at Joe and Charlie meeting this morning, from 9:45 to 10:15, I mean, it sounded like crazy people in there. And at 10:15, you know, the hammer stops and everybody gets the AA face on. But everybody was having a good time. And, you know, I have several people, you know, I just can't deal with the God thing. And I'm like, man, you know, you can make surfing your God, you can make whatever you want to make. It don't have to be the God that we learned about at the Southern Baptist Church when we were little kids. But you can make whatever, you know, but you got to let something else other than you guide your life. something else has got to be your higher power. I don't care what you make it. I said, because you can't sit there and tell me, well, I think I got it figured out, because you wouldn't be asking me what I did if you had it figured out. And the same reason, those meetings, I went to an intergroup every day. I had to drive 45 minutes to that intergroup, and I'd go every day. And these old men and ladies, and I mean old, like way past our old, and they sat over there on kind of a row against a wall, and they'd go every Wednesday to K&W after the meeting, and they asked me to go, and that, I mean, I was like, and I did, and I found those men put more love in me than I could ever imagine, and they wanted that love in me because they wanted me to have what they had had for so many years, and many of them passed on now, but some of them are still. I saw one of them today. He picked up 30 years. He was a used car salesman. He said, if I can get sober, anybody can get sober. To the newcomer, please give it an open-minded chance for just a while and try to do some of the things that you see the winners doing. And I call the ones the winners. You know, people say that we're not supposed to put anybody on a pedestal, and I've got a day, you know, we're the same. And that's true. But those that roll up a lot of days and get to see grandchildren born, grandchildren graduate, become great-grandparents and stuff, and are happy in their lives, that's what I want it to be. If that's something that you're interested in, you just have to follow the 12 steps. You know, the promises start coming through. And, you know, so just start going to meetings, find yourself a sponsor, get into a close network, and the ones that, you know, you don't have to love everybody in AA. You don't have to agree with everybody in AA. But I have learned one thing. People and places and things have got to be changed in order to get sober and maintain sobriety and for your life to get better. I do agree with that. Also, a big thing that has helped me is looking at people for being an alcoholic like me, not what else they are. It doesn't matter race, color, creed, whatever. When we go in that room, we're all there just trying to get through one day without taking a drink, allowing ourselves to live the way our higher power guides us to live. That's a beautiful thing. At the end of the day, when I leave a meeting at night at 9 o'clock, it's a beautiful thing to know that I'm going home and I'm sober and all my friends are.
I love that. If you're a newcomer, you might want to rewind a couple times and listen to that over and over. That was great, Ken. We want to thank you for coming in today and for your flexibility. We just really appreciate your service. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ken. Thanks to Ken for stopping by, and thanks to you, the listeners. If you want to join us online, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Daily Reflection Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Daily Reflector. You can read about recovery on our blog at blog.dailyreflectionpodcast.com. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.